and welcome to the Spoiler Kings. This is another episode in our series that we're doing for Black Excellence, especially during this Black History Month. We're trying to show that Black excellence is around all year round. We're trying to show you movies, writers, actors, all these things that have Black excellence in it. So we're trying to highlight certain things. This is me, Brian the Grizzly here. Actually, my father, Dr. Byron Waller. How's it going, Dad?
Doing pretty well. Thanks. How
That's
about
good.
you? Good?
It's good. It's another good day, so I'm happy. We're able to do these conversations. And I love having these conversations with you because this is like an insight to what we always talk about as a family, anyway.
Sure.
So it's really cool to be able to do that. But today, guys, we're going to talk about The Great Debaters. I know it's a movie that came out in 2007, but I feel like it's such a wonderful movie that we really need to touch on it and talk about a lot of the tropes that are in it. We talk about a lot of the things that we see. Talk about the Jim Crow South. I mean, there's a lot of things in there. So I'm gonna jump right into the synopsis, and then Dad, I want you to let me know what you first think about the movie, your first thoughts. So
Okay, will do.
here we go. Poet and professor Melvin B. Tolson teaches at a predominantly black college in Wiley College in 1935 in Texas. He decides to start a debate team, something nearly unheard of in a black college. While at first he butts heads with with the influencer Forrest Whitaker, one of his best debaters. Eventually, he's able to form a strong-minded team um, of intelligent young students, and they become the first black debate team to challenge Harvard's prestigious debate champions. So that's kind of like the general breakdown of what's going on.
Mhm.
What is your first thoughts about the movie?
I thought this movie was an excellent movie regarding Black excellence.
Mm.
You know, we talk about really Black excellence all throughout the year. I think this movie depicted really the personal experiences of four characters moving toward excellence. What are their personal challenges in order to get there? That journey. And each of them had their own unique experiences, whether from dealing with, a high achieving father to expressing your political point of view or dealing with gender or dealing with old, you know, childhood trauma.
Yeah.
All of them had their own personal challenges as they moved toward excellence. And I think it did a really excellent job and I keep using the term excellent,
Yeah.
but but I think it does a really great job at really looking at what journeys that they had to do. And, the two of the ingredients, hard work and persistence.
Yeah.
You know, even though they failed, they had to continue on. Even when living in an environment that really didn't think that they had the opportunity, didn't really have the ability to do those things. So they were constantly overcoming, and that moved them toward excellence. I thought the movie was a great example of that. Um, Multi-layered, you know, complicated issues.
Exactly.
However, I think the story is an excellent idea toward Black excellence.
I mean, I think that's what you need really to reach excellence. Sometimes you need to persevere. Perseverance is huge in excellence. I mean, this whole movie being based on a true story, based on um, Wiley College, the debate team. I mean, it's unbelievable that you could think about these stories, these all how these are interconnected, and how much you actually have to go through. Think about the Jim Crow South,
Mm-hmm.
doing this in Texas during those times when you really literally had to fear lynching and speaking your mind. That's unheard of during these times. And it's funny because it's connected to a church, but the church didn't even want you let you debate.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing how many obstacles they had to reach and how to fight through. And even um, what's his name? What's his name's father? Forrest
Farmer,
Whitaker's character,
right?
Farmer. I mean,
Farmer Senior. Mm-hmm.
he didn't want his son to even have to deal with that, And it's like you had to go through generational trauma, you had to go through political trauma, you had to go through a place, live in a place where it really didn't want you there, yet
Mm-hmm.
you had to fight to be the first to go through these things, and then that journey is just amazing. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea that no matter what someone tells you, you can still make it. No matter what happens, you can still persevere. And telling people about that, telling them about these stories. Talking about Journey Smollett. Her character's name is Samantha Brooke. She was based on a real life person, Henrietta B. Bell Wells. She was an American poet. She was the first member of a debate team, the first one to debate in interracial debate in the United States. It's unbelievable saying that we have these characters and then be able to turn around and say these are real people. This is based on a real story. I love hearing that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, you know, I don't blame anyone for not wanting for them to be involved in this uh, debate. You know, because it was a lot. You know, it was risky.
Yeah.
You know, really, like you said, living in an environment where you can be lynched they pulled out of your home and lynched for nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and now to be on stage and really letting people see what you're doing, you know, boy, that's really risky. I mean, the police following you around, looking and seeing what you're doing. So I understand the risk that was involved, you know, in doing this. And so I don't mind, you know, hearing, you know, Farmers Senior having some hesitance, or even the father of the family of the debater who dropped out. I understand what
Who says they're wrong? Who can
right.
say they're wrong?
They weren't necessarily wrong. However, though, the focus is on the journey of those who persisted, even in times of threat and risk and all these types of things. So they continue to persist. Now, the one thing though that I thought was really, really excellent was really having the story related to what each of their challenges were,
yep.
You know, and really seeing it and seeing them come through it uh, uh, with challenge and with some failure too, but really seeing that. So you had this specific type of journey that they had, but also you had this more community journey. The community itself had a journey too, as they continued to win. And now you saw the wins on the chalkboard, you know, and how it continued to add up and those types of things. So sure, there were individual journeys, but there was also a community journey,
and
even within the larger microcosm.
It could galvanize the people, and you know, and that's what you really want. You need, as a whole people, to be able to get to the journey, get to the end. You need an entire community. That's what I kind of wanted to get to, and that's important. You need to grab everybody, you know, but it starts with other people's sacrifice. Can I ask you a question though?
Sure.
Who's your favorite character? Not named Denzel, because that's hard. That's a cop-out.
You know, I thought that was a really interesting because I saw my favorite character, the one who had all of them grew. All of them grew.
Oh yeah.
Both developmentally, emotionally, physically, you know, psychologically, all of them grew. But I like the character that what's his name, Lowe.
Henry Lowe, yeah.
Henry Lowe.
From Nate Parker.
I sort of appreciated Henry Lowe's growth and development. Not because he was just the lowest, but that really you saw this arc of growth, you know, and challenge, and there were challenges in a variety of areas: poverty, you know, abandonment, you know, alcohol, and women, and all of these things that he really had to really battle through just to get there, and even that he had to be a little older than everybody else too, because he dropped out and came back and dropped out. And then it was sort of implied that he was in jail too, you know, you know, those types of things. And then to be able to see him, you know, on the other side, and to be able to say, you know, to think about, finally show some empathy, you know, and say, you know, you debate. And I'm growing to the next stage. Now it's your turn to take over for me. I thought that was, to me, you know, just seeing that was impressive. And then also the emotional part. Well, he was even able to get to that point of, tears,
Yep.
even as he continued to move forward. So that
Yeah, he
was
had to be
really,
challenged. And you know what? And I think that's an important character because it's a lot like a lot of males that we have today.
yes,
And having that to be challenged, mentally, emotionally, to really become a man.
yes,
Um, that's it's huge, and
yeah,
seeing that in real time, and then and being able to realize and empathize what he's going through, but also understand that you probably have to go through the same type of movement to in order to
mm-hmm,
get to that stage. You have to have those challenges, and then
mm-hmm,
eventually you can get there. But you have to be challenged. You have to, and you have to rise to the occasion. And
mm-hmm,
you're going to fail sometimes, and it's okay to fail. It's
mm-hmm.
not, but it's about what you do after you fail that really
Right.
matters.
Well, I mean, so this it was similar for Farmer Jr.
Mm-hmm.
You know, although he's only 14.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
he failed like in debate. Okay, that's one thing, but
well, get out in the shadows, getting out of the
his
shadow of his
father's shadow.
dad.
Yeah,
That
his
was
father's shadow.
first thing. And then his age, immaturity, his love for Brooke,
Yep.
his and being able to really deal with that loss, being able to deal with the loss of the debate, being able to really take on the challenge of being more than a researcher, actually standing up there and debating, all that whole thing,
Well,
all that he had to go through.
and succeeding, and be able to take all that knowledge and all the stuff that you prepared for, and fulfilling your destiny. I don't know if I want to say destiny, but
Or
the
making his
potential
own path.
starts to fulfill your own potential. You have
Right.
potential, and actually
Right.
fulfilling it, and that's hard. That's a
Yes.
difficult journey in itself, and
Yes.
it's amazing to see. I gotta say, this has got to be one of my favorite movies that we've seen, that we talked
Yes.
about.
Yes. I agree, because the only thing I wish I would have gotten, I think I missed one thing, and maybe you can help me to clarify it. The one thing I did not get was Brooks' background so much.
Mm-hmm.
I knew a little bit about that she left her other college because the opportunity wasn't there. You know, I got that. However, I wanted to know, boy, she seemed pretty well off too, because she
Mm-hmm.
dressed a particular way.
Yep.
you know, she's clearly from the South. You can hear it in her accent. But I didn't know where she came from. Does she come from a middle class family? Here she wants to be an attorney, a lawyer, all these types of things. But I really didn't get that. But I got a chance to see her personal struggles, you know, throughout the movie, and she had an arc of growth and development herself, and
Mm-hmm.
and overcoming some of the challenges. So all of the characters had that sort of overcoming. But I wish I would have known a little bit more about her background in coming to the debate team.
I think it's something that has to do with the fact that she's based on a true person, a real
Uh-huh.
person that they didn't want to fill in the gaps or didn't want to talk about. If something that people don't want to talk about, you want to leave that out of the movie and let if you want to do the research, this is who it's
Mhm.
based on, and you
Sure.
can figure out a lot of it itself. But the movie was actually pretty long,
Really.
126 minutes, so it was a little bit over 2 hours, and that you don't really get that for a lot of black movies, that especially of this importance.
Well, I'll say movies in general.
Yeah.
And the thing about it, it wasn't so heavy, but not when it wasn't so heavy, but it was also engaging,
Mm.
and entertaining, where
Yep.
you wanted to continue to see what was going to happen, and I thought that was fantastic too. The
Yep.
the pace of the movie was good,
I
you know.
always have a problem with slave movies because I don't feel like that's the only culture you have. But
Uh-huh.
you know, Great Depression, post Civil War movies, I in building of a community again after all the things that happened. I do like, even though you have struggles, I do like seeing that you can persevere, and what you
Mm-hmm.
could do if the community can all come together and push in like one area, one focus, what you can actually accomplish.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I feel like that's lost.
Yeah.
And but
Well,
seeing it is always good to remind you this is
mhm,
possible.
you're right. Well, this is not, you know, Reconstruction era. This is more
Yeah,
the
that's
era of
1880,
Jim
1880.
Crow.
But this
This
is
is
the
more
Jim Crow,
Jim
exactly.
Crow era, and looking at all those efforts, there. Now, I do have to say one of the more heavy and significant scenes in the movie was the lynching.
Yeah,
And
that's hard. That's hard to
yeah,
watch and
that
hard to.
was, ugh,
Ugh.
you know, that was hard. I think they did a really good job at really not derailing the movie or derailing the story, but using it to, help to move forward to further explain how they were able to overcome some of those different challenges and how people have really huge things that happen in your life, but yet you continue to move forward, towards your goals as you continue to persist and work hard. So
I
I
think
thought that was,
that's what happens when you have a good director, a strong director that has a vision in their mind and knows how they want to depict it. Um,
mhm,
this movie was directed by Denzel. Denzel directed this movie, so I mean that's he knew how he wanted it to be done. It was done. He wants to shock, but it also
mhm,
needs to. You need to be able to watch it,
mhm,
to understand what's actually happening. And I think he did
mhm.
it. He really that's a tightrope, really, a hard line to really follow. And I think he did a pretty good job. I think he delivered.
Yeah, I do too. And I don't think I would say, you say shock. I would probably say, yeah, put in something heavy that was true to the times.
Oh, very true. I mean, it
That
happens all
was
the time. You can see how many documented lynchings there are. I mean, just come on.
sure, and it fit the era of the Jim Crow era, and he didn't overdo it either. It was something that was significant, and it sort of fueled the next stage of the movie. So I thought it was fantastic,
Yeah, yeah.
in um, being true to the era, even as they move forward. You know, I rather enjoyed when they all got in their rooms and say, "Ooh, I got $5." you know, I got $5. And each of them $5. It was really a big deal to have $5. And be able to do what they wanted to do, eat what they wanted to eat. But they didn't get distracted. Well, one of
No,
them
they
did.
did.
One of them did. But they were able to come back together and refocus, even after that. So I thought that was really a light-hearted point of the movie. Uh, Again, great, continued the keeping you engaged throughout the entire movie.
So I was going to end it with this a historical note. So we know that the film depicts the Wiley debate team being Harvard College in the 1930s. Even though they actually defeated the University of California, who was the reigning debating champs at the time. Um, though they beat the reigning champs, they were not allowed to officially call themselves champions because they were not full members of the debate society. Black people were not admitted until World War II.
Mm,
So once again, though this is in the 30s, till World War II, black people weren't even allowed into the debate society. So I mean,
mm,
this is not so far you thinking like this is like forever ago. No, within
mm.
2 generations, this has happened, and people
Yeah.
need to understand that and realize that.
Yeah, the things that people had to encounter to get where we are today. Sometimes it's like, uh, you know, let's just move forward. No, let's also recognize where we came from, help to inform where we're going. Because if we
Exactly.
forget about that, then we don't have any real direction. I thought it was a fantastic movie. Denzel did a fantastic directorial uh, processing of the movie, direction of the movie. It was fantastic. I would definitely highly recommend this movie
Perfect.
all year round, not just for February.
Exactly. All year round. And that's what we're focusing on, guys. We're trying to get great black excellence, all the excellence in film all year round. But this is one we want to focus on now to try to get more people to notice it. I want to say thank you to my dad for coming in again and talking about these things. Thank you for you guys for listening. This is the end of our series. We're going to do, I think I have maybe 3 more that I'm going to do actually before the month is over. But I think I'm going to keep on going throughout the year on doing these things. So thank you guys for coming in. But we're going to continue this, and we will see you later. Thanks, guys.